Ange, obviously last season there was no European football. Into the Europa League this year, how much are you looking forward to getting started?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it was a bit of frustration last year because it's a twofold effect. One, you don't get the games particularly early in the year that you probably need for your squad, but then sitting around and watching the other teams playing some pretty exciting fixtures, you want to be involved. So it's great we're back in there.
You mentioned the games early on being useful. Why is that? Is that just match sharpness?
Yeah, a little bit of that match sharpness, the ability to kind of get game time into the majority of the squad. After a pre-season, you really need games to get guys going, and if you're in Europe, that really helps you, I think. And so from all aspects, I think it's a real positive thing.
Particularly some of the young players that are in the squad this year. How important are these Europa League games?
Yeah, it's important for our whole group. We've got a fairly young group, and with us not being in Europe last year as a group, just having that experience, because what you know with European football is it is different to what you get sort of on a weekly basis in the Premier League or even in the cup competition. Different types of opposition, different conditions sometimes you face. So I think it's great. It's a great challenge. So not just for the young boys in the group, but for us as kind of the team we want to involve into. I think these games will be crucial.
Particularly the younger players, someone like, say, Mikey Moore, getting the opportunity in Europe, can that be kind of a springboard into first team football?
To a certain extent. I mean, I think we're not sort of looking at it as an opportunity just to give players game time. It's got to be earned, but certainly Mikey and the other young boys we've got in the squad have earned their position in our first team. And we kind of, when we finalised the first team squad, it was with the view that everyone in that squad we expect to contribute and get an opportunity and play. And if it's a European game or it's a league game or a cup game, I think for guys like Mikey having the games program we have this year, I think there will be an opportunity for him both to contribute but also develop.
From a manager's perspective, I know you've got a lot of experience of continental football, whether it was at Celtic, a time at Yokohama. What are some of the challenges of European games or continental games mixed in with league football?
Well, as I said, it's usually a departure from sort of what you get probably on a weekly basis. Whilst, in the Premier League, there's all sorts of different sort of styles and tactics. For the most part, you're meeting a certain kind of intensity, a certain kind of tempo, a certain kind of stadium sometimes, where European football isn't that, continental football isn't that. It's a departure from that. It's, you've sometimes faced teams that play totally differently from anything else. Like I said, you're playing stadiums or atmospheres that are different from what you're used to. There's the travel involved as well. So all those kind of things, make it a different sort of challenge to your normal sort of weekly routine. And like I said, that's the exciting bit, because all new experiences allow you to evolve both individually and as a group.
I was going to ask, do you enjoy that aspect of the continental stuff?
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, because just from a planning point of view, from a preparation point of view, you've got to be on sort of high alert. It's not that you get into a routine on a weekly basis, but we have certain things we do fairly regularly, and when European football or continental football comes into it, you need to change the travel aspect of it, the recovery aspect of it, the way we scout. There's a lot more scouting that goes into it because we don't get to see these teams regularly.
Does anything else change when it comes to European stuff?
Not really. I think for the most part what you're trying to sort of maintain through that sort of variation in things you can't control is what you can, and what we can control is our football and the way we play and the way we train and the way we kind of prepare the players for whatever challenges ahead of us.
Obviously, Qarabag is the first game. 9 years ago, last week I think it was, Son Heung-min scored his first Spurs goals against Qarabag. He's now the captain. What's he been like to work with this year and a bit?
Yeah, look, I kind of knew, not a close hand Sonny before, and it's pretty much what you see is what you get with Sonny. I think anyone who's had any sort of interaction with him or watched him even from afar will know, he's a real positive guy. He's a very competitive guy. you know, he's constantly pushing himself and others around him, and he's got a really positive energy, and he's been an enormous help for me since I've got to the club, because obviously, as you said, he's been at this club for quite a while now. He knows, you know, the ins and outs of it, and you know, having a guy like him, and particularly the, you know, like I said, his positive nature, I think, works well within the environment I want to create. So, yeah, great to have him sort of as part of the group.
You kind of touched on it there, but I imagine you came across him when you were with Australia. From seeing him from afar, is he different at all? No,
like I said, he's just one of these guys, people that, as I said, what you see is pretty much what you get. You know, it's not. He's no different, you know, behind the scenes than he is what you see out on a football field. Like I said, ultra competitive, but always positive with everything he does. You know, and his interactions with people, the way he engages with people is always, you know, with a positive backdrop, and you know, he can't do enough for anybody that he comes across, and but always with, like I said, in the back of his mind is that he's a winner. You know, he wants to win things, he wants to be the best he can be, and he's an ideal person to have as a leader.
Is that, you think, the qualities that make him a captain?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, part of being a leader is knowing yourself before you embark on that journey, because, you know, people will always respond better when something's authentic. You know, if you try and be someone that you're not, you know, eventually people see through it. With Sonny, he hasn't had to change who he is. He leads by example, but also leads with, like I said, a real positive outlook on football and in life. And, you know, like I said, he had all the characteristics to be a great leader.